everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Taylor.
I'm Blanca, and today is
Wicked Wine Wednesdays, where we talk about true crime and sample wines.
Today we'll be discussing the very infamous Betty Broderick.
So if you like wine and true crime, don't forget to
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Before we dive in, I just want to remind you guys that we'll be talking about the wines that we tried at the end of the video, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned until then. I also want to remind you guys that we will be posting a video every other Wednesday. So let's dive in. So, Betty Broderick. Man, this case is pretty interesting because we're like indifferent, you know? We're
So
like,
I guess just let us know how you feel, because
at the end, obviously, but
it's not that we want to say it's a justified murder.
it's just, I feel like she was pushed to it for sure.
Oh yeah. So let us know how you feel. Did she snap? Was she crazy? Like, let us know your thoughts on this.
We're indifferent.
A little
But
bit.
Betty was born November 7th, 1947, which makes her a Scorpio. So she's already a little feisty thing.
I'm like, that Scorpio energy.
Yeah, definitely. Not like Scorpios are murderers or anything.
No.
But she's
But just
a
their
little-
energy.
Yeah, just her energy's a little dark. But she was born in New York, and she had a pretty big family. I think she was one of 6 kids.
I think she was the third one of 6.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So
So
like
one of
at least
5
like
kids.
in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle.
I was like that middle child where you get ignored.
Yeah, poor thing. But she was raised in a very strict Catholic home, and from what she says is that they raised her to basically be this housewife, this stay-at-home wife that catered to her husband, did everything for her husband, and she would kind of just be the one that's not the breadwinner. The husband would be that, and that's how she was raised. And then the men were raised to go out and work and be providing for their wives, which, I mean, I guess it's kind of a good thing, but
A very 1950 mentality.
yeah, I guess
Like,
so, yeah.
Very, very mentality.
Yeah, she ended up graduating high school, and she actually graduated college as well with childhood education and a minor in English. So she was a well smart cookie.
Oh yes, I think she did have aspirations to be a teacher.
Yeah.
However, she obviously,
Things got put on the back burner for her.
yeah, I
Which
was
kinda
gonna say
sucks.
like she deferred her plans for life.
Yeah.
That's
Which
the best way to put
that's
it.
what you do with kids, you know?
I mean, yeah.
But she ended up meeting her husband, Dan Broderick, in 1965 in Indiana. Dan was born in Pennsylvania, and he was the oldest son. And he also was born in a Catholic family. I don't know if they were as strict as her family. There's not really much information on that. They end up marrying in 1969, so what, 4 years after they met?
Yes.
And on the honeymoon, she gets pregnant. She gets a little pregnant baby going. And she ends up giving birth to their first daughter in 1970. And she gave birth to 4 more children. So they had a pretty big family as well. Unfortunately, she did end up losing one of the babies about 4 days after he was born. And this was in 1979. And a little backstory, I guess when she went into labor with this baby, Dan was not there. He was out of town. But he was there for the death of the baby. So I'm sure that was kind of traumatic to both of them.
Now, when Betty and Dan met, Dan was going to med school. And after they had their first child, he pretty much finished with his MD. And I'm not really sure if that's when you start doing like your residency and things after. But pretty much like he finished, graduated, and got a degree. And then decided, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I want to be a lawyer because I can make way more money as a lawyer.
Which makes sense.
Which it does. And so at that point, Betty was very like, what do you mean? Like, you've been going to school this whole time to be a doctor, like you're almost done, and now you want to switch it all up? Like, what the hell? But like any woman that loves their man, and especially when you're at the very, very bottom of the damn food chain with them and thinking that maybe if you stay with them now and support them through this, you'll get something better out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows if that was really her logic, or if she really just loved Dan so much to the point where she was just like, if this is what you want to do, like, I support it.
Yeah.
So basically, he was like, I'm going to go to law school. And she was like, go for it. I will be the sole provider of this family, so that way you can go ahead and get your law degree and like support us later in life. And I mean, Betty and Dan were, I don't want to say like as poor as they come, but I mean, there were very many days of struggling.
Yeah.
Of, let's pay this bill, let's pay that bill. What are we going to do?
Yeah, trying to figure out where the money was going to go and where it wasn't going to go.
Dan was very big on his appearance. It was very trying to almost make himself seem like he was the version of himself that he had seen in his head.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that successful lawyer person that's making money all the way down the road, but he is trying to picture it now.
Mm-hmm.
And Betty, being the loving wife that she is, she's like, I got you, honey. Like, this is fine.
Nay, that's not how it went on.
Now, like we said, they go on to have more children. I believe they do have a total of 4 living children, with, unfortunately, the death of the one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but it seemed like Dan was like on a school trip with some of his colleagues, almost on one of those trips that was trying to prove his image of what a successful man he was.
Mm-hmm.
And the death of the baby really messed up Betty. And I think it would mess up anybody, honestly,
Yeah,
because losing your child is not something I wish on anybody, honestly. And I don't know if maybe that was slowly the beginning of her, I wouldn't even say neurotic issues, because it wasn't necessarily that she was neurotic, but it was somebody that loved somebody wholeheartedly and was just willing to support them through anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think we've all been there. Now, after, them building this life together, Dan is working for a firm, and in the firm that he's working for, it's almost like he's doing all this work but not getting all the pay for the work that he's doing, which I'm sure most of us can relate to, because let's face it, as soon as you start working for other people, I think we all realize, like, why am I not just doing this for myself? Yeah. Because, like, why am I making them money? Blah, blah, blah. Who knows what happened? But eventually Dan decides to start his own firm.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, he becomes the law firm that sues doctors for like malpractice.
Which is funny because he was going to be a doctor. And
which is exactly why he used his doctor degree, because he was like, well, I went to medical school. I know the logic of this. Yeah. And he used that doctorate degree for his lawyer degree and to make this like malpractice lawsuit, which did become very, very successful. Mm-hmm. Now, the family started off in New York and then eventually made their way into California, or San Diego, California, which is eventually where Dan started his own practice.
And they lived in a nice suburb in La Jolla, which if you guys aren't from California...
And you go to La Jolla, like, oh my God.
Yeah, La Jolla is an expensive place to live. Like, you probably can't find a house there, like a 2-bedroom house for less than $700,000.
No, don't even try and stay in the hotels there, because they're at least like $400 a night.
Yeah, it's an expensive
beautiful town, beautiful beaches. I mean, they were doing very well for themselves, from being the very dirt poor family to now like this upscale living in San Diego, California.
Yeah, I want to be there.
Well, with Betty, her whole logic was like, we've been dirt poor, and now we've gone from being dirt poor and me supporting you to now we've completely flipped the food chain and we're making way more money than we can count, and now you're supporting me. Now for Dan, that didn't really sit well because suddenly he was upset with Betty and the amount of money that she would be spending, which if you ask me and I supported you through everything,
And
don't
our 4
question.
kids.
Do not question what comes up on your credit card bill. Like, no. It's, yeah, how she said, I pushed out 4 kids and supported you through med and law school. I'm out. Don't question me on anything. No. But because Dan felt a resentment towards Betty, that obviously led to other things in his life.
Dan was working all these long hours, right? Putting in all this effort into becoming this successful dude, which he did. Congratulations to him, I guess. But Betty didn't like the fact that he was always gone. She kind of saw it as like, we have all this money to do things together and now we're not doing anything together. And like, it would be nice if you could spend more time with me and the kids. And he basically was telling her like, I have all these things I have to do. Like, I can't just take time off. So she kind of told him, well, maybe get somebody in the office that knows what they're doing and can help you with things that you need done. So he was like, yeah, sounds like a good idea. You know who I'm actually thinking of is this 21-year-old assistant named Linda that works in the office, or she's a receptionist, I mean. And he's like, yeah, she'd be perfect for the job. Funny thing is that Linda had no background in law. She was a flight attendant for Delta Airlines. And
like, don't you need a paralegal degree?
Yeah, because he basically hired her as his paralegal assistant. So everybody was kind of like, what the hell? Like, why would you do that? Especially Betty. But he was like, that's not what I meant when I said, like, you need help. And she obviously started to get suspicions that him and Linda were having an affair because they were both conventionally attractive people. And she was like, oh, here's this young little hot 21-year-old that kind of reminds me of me when I was in my younger days. And now, like, my husband's hiring her out of nowhere with no background.
Yeah, the fact that she had legitimately no experience. Like, even Betty was upset because she was like, can she even type?
Yeah, like,
because, like, I don't know if we mentioned that, like, one of the things she did to support him, but, like, it's almost said that, like, and obviously, because Betty's the only one alive, we don't know the full story.
Yeah.
But she loves to say, like, how she would help Dan back in the day, how she would almost write his papers because she was such a great typer, so it wasn't even him doing the work.
Yeah.
So as a wife, when you hire the 21-year-old with no experience, you do sit there and you're like, so what's going on there?
Yeah, I would for sure.
Like,
and that's the thing is that people, I guess, in the office as well, had their suspicions of Linda and Dan, and nobody like told Betty anything because like they didn't want to get in the middle of that. But
and why would you want to tell them?
Yeah, and the thing is too is that I guess when they eventually did start having an affair, I don't know if they were having an affair when she was a receptionist or when she became his assistant, but they started having an affair. And a lot of people in the office said that Linda was very open about it. She didn't try hiding it or anything. She was very much like, oh, I'm hooking up with Dan.
Guess what me and Dan did this weekend?
Yeah.
Me and Dan went here. Oh my god, Dan took me to this. Oh my god, Dan told me this. Oh my god, Dan.
If I worked in the office, I would slap her in the face. I'd be like, you know he's married, right? Like, that's the thing is like, why? What is she thinking?
Let's not all pretend or not pretend that at one point Betty wasn't all like, I'm Mrs. Broderick, because...
Well, that's the thing is like Betty would go in and bring her husband lunch and they would like go out for lunch or something. And like everybody in the office knew what was going on.
Made it very known she was Mrs. Broderick.
Yeah.
But did Linda care?
Everybody knew who Betty was. Everybody knew who Betty was, including Linda. And obviously she didn't care about that. And things escalated between Linda and Dan. And Dan decided, actually, I guess Dan had bought Linda a condo that Linda was staying at, and Dan would go and like stay with her or like hang out with her, and that was like their home away from his home with Betty, which is just disgusting. But
seriously, to buy another woman a home after like you've already given one woman a life, a home, and at least 5 children.
yeah, I don't understand it. I really don't. But
And now you see why we're indifferent.
yeah, because like it's kind of like what did you expect? Anyway,
No, for real.
Anyway. So I'm like, we're gonna get off topic because we like
Don't come at us for that opinion, but a little bit like, what the hell?
yeah, because we would get so off topic just talking about like what is all wrong with this. But
Oh yeah, I know.
anyway, so Dan decides that he's gonna move out in 1985, and he had hired the assistant in 82. So this affair was going on for quite some time, I guess. 3
Like
years.
at least like almost 4 years,
Yeah.
I think, before he told Betty.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
was
because
like-
obviously he was denying it and whatnot.
No,
But-
of course.
Yeah, but I guess Dan decided that he was going to take custody of the children because, from his reports, she dropped them off and like abandoned the kids, which
Which, if you're a mom, and let's face it, your baby daddy man, whatever the hell is going on,
mhm.
like decides, again, in this scenario where you freaking have supported him through everything, and is just like, I'm leaving you for the 21-year-old, bye. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I would drop my kids off one by one at your house just as well and be like, look what I've been dealing with for the past like 10 years.
Yeah,
Like,
that's how petty
Oh.
that's how petty she was too, is that she would drop them off one by one.
it wasn't even all at the same time.
Yeah, it was just one by one. She was like, oh, here you go. Oh, here you go. Which, it's sad. Like, I don't want to laugh at it
It's
because
sad.
the kids were involved, and like these adults should have obviously taken more consideration of the kids that were involved.
But
But
I
it's like,
do think
she's
it's
so
funny.
petty. So petty. I mean, I get where she was coming from. She was just being petty, you know? Like, you can't blame her for that.
And if you watched interviews or anything like that, she's always has said her intention was never to abandon the children to leave them with Dan.
Yeah.
It was very much to show Dan, like, while I've been supporting you through X, Y, and Z, like, I've been taking care of your kids. Like,
Mhm.
this is what goes on in my day. And she was just really hoping that Dan was gonna fail.
Like, he would open his eyes and be like, oh, this is harder than I thought it was. But no, because Dan has the money to go ahead and hire a nanny and not worry about the kids.
Oh, and you have your 21-year-old that's trying to make nice with everybody because, sorry, I'm the homewrecker.
If you could tell, we're a little frustrated with this case. I guess they decided Dan filed for divorce against Betty, and it went on for a while. And the thing that sucks is that it went on for a while because Dan is obviously a very well-known attorney, and a lot of the people, attorneys and lawyers, whatever, in that town did not want to go up against him. And there were some that tried and they failed, and they basically were like, we have no defense on like what he's bringing to the table. So it's very unfortunate. And I guess there was a time too where Dan, I'm not sure what year it was, I can't remember, but Dan actually had Betty committed to a psych ward.
We aren't kidding when we say this divorce was very long,
Mm-hmm.
very dramatic. And if you look it up, I don't know if it is till this day, if like another divorce has happened that was way worse than this one, but at least to my knowledge to this day, their divorce, Broderick versus Broderick, is the worst divorce in San Diego County. Their divorce lasted for 5 years. Like, this was 5 years going to court back and forth. Now, like she said, Dan made it impossible for Betty to get any representation. Nobody wanted to deal with Dan. She would almost go out to LA to find a lawyer that would represent her. And because Dan was supposed to pay the lawyers because he was going to get the money back through some lawyer thing that like happens to the court. Again, I don't even know what it was called. But Dan refused to pay the lawyers a cent, even though like that was like the agreed upon thing.
Mhm.
Apparently, again, to Betty's records, there were times where Dan would call her and tell her that the court date was canceled, even though there was still court. So to the judge, it looked like Betty didn't care. Betty didn't show up.
Mhm.
Betty didn't do anything. And Dan kept winning every case against him. Now, Dan was so over this at this point, he decided to file for a bifurcation, I want to say, or something like that it was called.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it basically allowed them to be divorced immediately and for them to deal with their like shares and finances and splitting everything on the side.
Mhm.
But Dan still withheld so much from Betty. It wasn't even...
He like would, it was like basically like an allowance. Like if she did something wrong, he would like cut off certain pay from her. Which is ridiculous.
He was supposedly giving her, I want to say it was like $1 allowance of like $9,000 a month or something like that to just live her life. And she felt that that wasn't enough because she had put him through med school, law school, and was supporting him through his career, starting
And
his
the
own
kids.
firm, had all these kids with him. It was just like $9,000 isn't shit. Like I deserve $28,000, I think is how much she wanted or something like that. And I think the judge may have agreed on like 16. Who knows?
Mhm.
But Betty was just so done with Dan. Like, it was ridiculous. And then I think even there's reports that she would claim that, like, Linda was taunting her and would send her, like, news clippings of her and Dan clipped out with, like, little messages on them. And I think one of the things that would really make Betty snap was hearing Linda's voice on the, like, messaging machine, which I won't lie, if that was my family and then I heard another lady's voice on it being like, oh, the Brodericks aren't home, I'd be just as pissed.
Yeah. And not to mention, too, when she was sending her, like, clippings of her, Linda and Dan together, she would also send things like weight loss, like,
Oh, yeah.
pamphlets and like skin cream, because I guess Betty had insecurities about her weight and like her skin. And
Which, I mean, after 5 kids and being like in your 40s.
Yeah. And obviously though, like that, it's so messed up for Linda to like do that, but obviously she was petty. Like she's literally a child. Like
Literally.
we're not even
Anyway, with the divorce and how bad, I mean, like I said, it was 5 years of just this malicious back and forth. After a certain point, Betty became increasingly violent. Like she said, Dan did have her committed to a psych ward because one of the days in like 1989 or something like that, she was just so fed up with either the fact that I think it was like divorce had finally gone through or what it was, and she literally just lost it in that moment, drove over to his house and drove her car through his front door. Now, it didn't actually make like damage to the property. From what I understand, everybody was okay. Her airbags might have gone off, I think. But it's not like the car went through the house or anything like that. It literally hit the front door and her car went back. And her children were in the house with Dan. Dan obviously came out and was trying to pin her down, telling her how she's crazy. And when the cops arrived, basically told her how she needed mental help. And then had her committed to a psych ward because he had an MD and was a doctor.
So she's obviously
and literally committed her to the psych ward. And I think even when she was in the psych ward, she was trying to tell people like he's not even a real doctor, like he's abusing the MD, like, and they were just like, okay, because like you're the crazy one, you know, like you drove your car through him. I would drive my car through his house too, but if I'm being honest, like, really?
Yeah, like,
really? Now, it didn't just stop there. Betty, it was almost like she couldn't stop herself. And I do think that she may have needed therapy while she was going through all this.
You think?
But part of her would also tell her friends, like, me talking to Dan's answering machine is my therapy. However, her therapy was pretty much telling Dan what a shithead he was for breaking up their whole family.
And that she was gonna off him.
There was many, and this is the thing. Dan recorded every phone call, every voicemail, anything with Betty.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was recorded. And he even had like one of his assistants writing the transcripts for it. I think even at one point she was like, I'm uncomfortable with this. And he was like, nope, keep going. Like, sorry, I need this documented. Like, I need proof that she's crazy.
Yeah.
But, and it was just every voicemail that she ever left Dan was,
it wasn't a pleasant one.
There was a lot of profanity in it. There was a lot of it telling him, like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill Linda. Like, a lot of things like that. Which, again, coming from her point of view and everything she did,
Like,
and then
obviously
just being
very
divorced.
heated.
Like, I could see where the anger was, and I don't know. At that time, if the threats were as genuine. But obviously, it became an issue to the point where, and how we've said, Dan was this great lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
He was giving her an allowance monthly that technically was not mandated by the court. So he basically was just like, I can do whatever I want because I'm being generous to you and like, I'm giving you this money. So he decided to fine Betty for every profanity that she used. And if it exceeded her monthly limit, then she now owed Dan money. Which would just make me want to kill him more.
Yeah, like, he's literally treating her like
it's
a
literally
child.
like he's like, here's the gun, please kill me. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, it gets to the point, it's just so bad that even the judge is like, you need to stop the fining. She can't obviously control herself. Like, you need to guys stop bugging me about all this. And it's not like it ever really stopped. Betty never stopped calling. The profanity never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys look it up, there's a very, very, I say it's very disturbing because honestly, if you hear it, it is really sad. But there is a phone call between Betty and one of her sons where the son is basically begging Betty to just stop whatever it is she's doing. He tells her, like, I want to live with you. I'd rather be with you. I don't want to be here with Dad or any of all this. And it wasn't because Dan was doing anything. They just wanted to be with their mom.
Yeah, of course.
And in the, like, conversation, Betty just starts getting so angry every single time, and tries to blame Linda for everything, which, again, I get. Like, I probably would feel the same way. Like, it was her fault. Like, I had everything, but it was her fault. Even if there were other issues between them before that. But, like,
She's the straw that broke the camel's back.
And so that phone call, you'll see how later it becomes, like, evidence and things like that, but it's very much one of the most disturbing calls taken between Linda and Dan, mainly because you just feel so much for the son and you can feel the pain between like the parents and the divorce, and if you are a child of divorce, I'm sure it's something you can relate to.
Yeah.
But eventually, it's not like Dan ever leaves freaking Linda, and I don't know if we mentioned this, but Dan and Betty got married on April 12th of like 19 whatever. And then he decides to go ahead and remarry Linda on April 22nd of 1989. So, 10 days after your original anniversary date with your first wife. Really, Dan? Like, you really didn't see that being an issue?
On their wedding day, Linda tried to convince Dan to wear a bulletproof vest, which I find kind of ironic considering their passing. But
they were very, very convinced that Betty was going to show up on their wedding day to ruin everything.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised either. I would have thought the same thing.
But I don't even think they got married in the United States, which makes it even almost like suspiciouser that like they would think that like Betty
more
would.
Suspicious.
Yeah, more suspicious. There you go. Less suspiciouser. But new word, guys. New word alert.
Suspicious alert.
More suspicious. Because I'm like, if you weren't even planning to get married on the United States, like,
yeah,
why would you have to worry about wearing like?
I don't know, because like they think that she's that crazy. But the thing is like with all of that, Dan was like, she's crazy, but she's not that crazy. She's not gonna kill anybody. She's not gonna hurt anybody. But 7 months after Linda and Dan were married, they were staying in their beautiful Balboa Park home in San Diego.
Because, you know, he got the fancy house and Betty got the roach infested house.
Yeah. So Betty decides that she's going to go ahead and sneak into their house with a key that she stole from her daughter. So, like, she found the house key and was like, yep, I'm going to take that. So she decided that she was going to go ahead and sneak into their house when they were sleeping at 5:30 a.m. on November 5th, 1989. And she ended up shooting both Dan and Linda. 2 of the bullets hit Linda in her head and chest, and they obviously killed her instantly. And then 1 bullet hit Dan in the chest, and he was trying to call 911 from like what the evidence is that they see that he was like had dragged himself or blood, whatever. He was like trying to get to a phone to call 911, and then one of the bullets hit the wall by him while he was trying to call 911, and then another one hit his nightstand. Yeah. So it was a pretty gruesome scene. After Betty had killed her ex-husband and his new wife, she calls her daughter and basically tells her, I shot your dad and his new wife and they're dead. But from what we know is that after she shot Dan, he didn't die right away. And Betty says that she had talked to him actually after she had shot him. So we'll never really know that conversation, but apparently he kind of like told her like, oh, you shot me, like I'm dead. But who really knows what happened? She didn't really say. But after she talks to her daughter, she goes to the police department and turns herself in. She never denied anything, says that she didn't plan to kill them, that she actually planned on killing herself, and she just ended up at their house.
I think her story was like, I was driving to the beach to go and kill myself, and then I somehow ended up at Dan and Linda's.
Kind of just like, well, I guess I'm ready here.
Which we kind of like talked about a little bit beforehand, and we were thinking about it, and I think it's been proven by many, many people that obviously your brain can take control over the human body, especially in very traumatic like emotional situations. Yeah. So like almost like what she would be in, like a traumatic situation, like I'm gonna go kill myself. And so her whole statement is that she was on the beach to go and kill herself and somehow ended up at Dan and Linda's and somehow killed them.
Yeah, but it's like the thing that I think too is like she stole the key. Like she had to plan on going there.
But the thing is, she had been vandalizing their property multiple times beforehand. So I can almost wonder, like, did she steal the key because they had changed the locks and so she needed a new key to go and continue to like
I don't know.
Do all those things? Or who knows? Maybe I think maybe she was on her way to kill herself and her brain was like, why are you killing me? Like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, they did everything wrong. And without realizing it, I think she subconsciously ended up at Dan's house and was just a little like, F it, I'm here.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's a good defense, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like stealing the key and buying a gun and everything kind of like,
well,
you never know, it could be premeditated. Like, it was...
I mean, it could be. I mean, I know she had the gun for at least months prior to actually killing him.
Well, but the thing is she only had the gun 8 months before she killed him, and then they were married for 7 months. So she only bought the gun like a month before.
Oh, well, that
they got
explains why
married.
she was like, you need a bulletproof vest. Because
Yeah.
it is said that one of Dan and Betty's kids kind of told Dan, like, Mom has a gun.
Yeah.
And Dan was just like, well, she wanted me to know. Like,
Yeah.
like, obviously Betty doesn't tell you guys anything without me wanting to know. Like,
Yeah. And that like, their deaths are obviously awful because nobody deserves to die. But I think it's like very sad in this situation because she was pushed and pushed to her breaking point. And obviously a lot of people don't want to feel for Betty.
no, a lot of people just want to think that Betty went crazy and couldn't handle the fact that she was being left and went and killed the husband and the new wife.
Yeah, but it's not like it just happened overnight, you know? There was years and years of this torment between her and Linda and Dan. And
that's just right. I'm like, it was a 5-year divorce. Like, he was a lawyer. He won on every single, like, almost pretty much every single case. Like, if you look back on it, like, it was all in favor of Dan. Like, it's not like anything was in favor of Betty. So I can see why Betty almost went crazy, because it's like, no one believes anything I have to say. No one cares about anything that I do. I'm just the bad guy. I somehow fucked everything up. Like, it was my fault.
Yeah.
And it's like, in reality, it wasn't your fault. It was Dan. Because...
And a little bit of Linda.
That was definitely Linda's fault. But whatever. It was Dan and Linda's fault. 1000%.
That's why we say that we're, like, indifferent about this. Because, like, we don't want anybody to die. We don't think anybody should get murdered. And,
of course.
And it's, like, a bad thing, obviously. But at the same time, it's, like, very hard to, like, be like, oh, she was completely in the wrong after being pushed so often. And it's, like, imagine if you're getting kicked every single time you're down, there's going to be one time that you're going to kick back, and it might not be pretty. And I feel like that's kind of what happened in this situation.
After the murders have happened, obviously, like we said, Betty at no point ever denies killing Dan. She makes it very clear she had no intention of ever harming Linda. I think she tries to, at one point in her defense in court, try to say that she never changed her aim, like when holding the gun. Which I think they did have specialists to go out and prove that she had to have changed the direction of the gun, and that it wasn't just like a random like offset of the gun.
Because like how I mentioned, there's like a bullet that hit the wall, and then one that hit the nightstand, and it's like you had to change your direction somehow,
or at least kind of just been like, you know what I mean? Kind of like that.
Yeah.
But it does look like she had a attorney called Jack Early. And they very, very much tried to go with the defense of a battered wife, somebody that had been done wrong, which, in my defense, I'm gonna vote for that one.
Yeah.
But whatever. I think from my understanding, Betty went through 2 trials in regards to the murders. And it was because the first jury that she was handed was a hung jury. Which, if you guys don't know, because I did have to Google it after because I was a little bit curious, because I thought it automatically meant like a mistrial. It does not. If you get a hung jury in court, all it basically means is that your case will be tried again with a court that is less impartial to, I guess, the views of the other jury.
Yeah, because when it became a hung jury, 2 of the jurors wanted to charge her for manslaughter, while the other jurors wanted to charge her for
actual
second-degree murder. Yeah. Like premeditated murder. There
were a lot of jurors too. I think it was, I don't know if it was just those 2 or if it was a few other ones, but they were all basically saying how there should be a law in Betty's defense for women that are like her, where it's like you're supporting your man, but then you go crazy because he has a midlife crisis and leaves you for somebody else. I wish that was an actual thing, but like, let's face it, we can't control everybody in the universe, which I understand it's not a thing. So with her first trial and her getting that hung trial, Betty felt super, super confident going into the next trial. And I think at that point, her lawyer was almost telling her to, like, don't get that confident. Like, you know,
never know what could happen.
They're not going to make the same mistakes in this trial that they made in the first trial. And Betty's like, no, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, she thought she was totally going to get the not guilty trial.
And then, like the phone call that I had brought up earlier between Betty and her son, it almost seemed like the jury was about to let Betty go. Now, again, this isn't the case of the second trial. It almost seemed like Betty not necessarily was going to get away with this, but would at least be justified almost in the action that she did.
Yeah.
And then she was hit with a guilty verdict on both accounts of Dan and Linda. Not necessarily something that she had been expecting, but the phone call, and again, if you guys go back and listen to it, every juror that was on the stand pretty much says that they all felt for Betty. They all kind of got why Betty did what she did.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that phone call with her son and how much hatred you could feel in Betty's voice, the jury incarcerated her on both accounts. So that means she was found guilty for both Dan and Linda. Which, I mean, if I was being honest, she should have only been found guilty for Dan, but whatever. Any family member of Linda, if you watch this, hear this, I'm really sorry, because I'm sure Linda was this great person in life, but the fact that she decided to get involved with somebody that was married, like, as a married woman, screw her.
Yeah.
And again, that guilty verdict was not anything that Betty was expecting. She really did think that she was going to be set free after everything, because she thought that more people would have sympathized with her at this point. But no. Betty ended up being charged with 2 consecutive counts where it was pretty much 15 years to life. So at that point, it's like 30 years to life at least. And I believe at the time of her sentencing, she was given no parole for both of the accounts. However, she has tried for parole in 2010, 2011, and 2017. All 3 times she has been completely denied of parole. She will not be available to try again until 2032. And the main reason that she has been denied parole this whole time, because like we said, she has 4 children. Now,
they've all been like on Oprah too, like including Betty.
Oh yeah, that was it. I think they did an Oprah thing like back in 2002, or like right after the murders had happened, and it was like an Oprah interview with Betty and then with her kids, and the kids were just like, I think if you watch it, like she would be like, oh yeah, when we had your mom on, then they were just like, okay, like I think they don't even watch it because they were just like, mm. But again, with the 4 kids that Betty has, 2 of them are pretty much against Betty getting out, and the other 2 are very much like, we want our mom because at least it means they kind of have somebody.
Yeah.
But even to this day, 2021, Betty shows no remorse for what she's done. In fact, she still looks for justification in what she's done.
Yeah, like the last trial in 2017 it was?
Yeah, like 2017.
Or the last
I don't even know.
Parole hearing in 2017. She basically was like, she went out and was like, yeah, I don't feel bad for what I did. I did what I did because they basically were horrible to me. And yeah, I don't regret it because they're assholes, basically. And the court was like,
clearly
go back to yourself.
you haven't grown, like, you haven't shown any,
here?
like, growth, which, again, to me and her, I feel like it kind of sucks because it's like, I can see where Betty's coming from in the sense where she's like, what did I do wrong? Like,
yeah, like
they
you guys
screwed
realize
me
that
over,
they
like,
completely effed me, like,
and that's
come
something
on.
like we've said, like, Dan majorly, like, blocked her in court, like, when it came to the kids, when it came to certain assets, like, he made sure he would have full custody of the kids,
Yeah.
would have all of their money, like, that Betty was going to be left with nothing.
I think that would drive anybody mad.
Anybody.
If I'm being honest.
That's what I'm saying, like, a lot of jurors were like,
we're probably gonna get so much hate defending a murderer, but we're not like defending her. It's just one of those things where you kind of feel for her because she was basically bullied into killing these people. And of course, she could have laid off. She could have.
And that's another thing that we've talked about is whether or not, like, she was maybe crazy beforehand and, like, maybe this just kind of brought out the more crazier in her, or if she had, like, full-blown snapped. And if I'm being honest, I think she snapped. I think that it was somebody, because she did graduate high school, she did graduate college.
And, like, people that knew her said that she was, like, super loving, awesome, like, outgoing.
She had
she would do anything for anybody. And then
I think it was, like, that personality where you're like, I will do anything for who I love, for what I love, like, no matter what.
Yeah, and then people said, like, when she started going through, like, the divorce with Dan, that she became, like, very withdrawn and just, like, not her. And I think it was a huge snap in her brain, and it kind of just... It's a tough one because you want to feel for certain sides, because obviously we want to feel for the one side of them being murdered, and then we want to feel for Betty's side, and then, like, you have to think about the kids, and it's like, couldn't she have taken the kids into account? It's a huge thing, but overall it's a sad case because no matter what, there's no win in this situation.
I think that's why the phone call with the kid was, like, the saddest, because, like, I did listen to it, and he's basically just like, Mom, if you stop saying bad words, like, all of this will be over and we can come back with you. And then it's like you hear the hatred from Betty, and it's like...
Yeah. She was obviously very hurt, and I don't know. It sucks. I mean, who
isn't after you freaking support him and give him kids, and they're like, bye, I'm leaving you for, like, the one thing that looked like you 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Before the kids.
I wonder if she's gonna get out.
I don't know.
I don't think she's ever gonna show remorse.
I was gonna say, unless she randomly pretends to be like, I'm so sorry I killed Dan. Like, I don't really think they're gonna let her out. Which...
she should just make it till she makes it right.
But then I feel like she wants to stand in her point. Because I don't know if it's in the voice or in the voice call with her son, but I think one of the things that a lot of people would say too about her and Betty, or I'm sorry, about Dan and Betty, was that Betty would constantly be so upset to the point where it was said that there would be no peace until one of them was gone. And that apparently...
But I feel like there's still no peace now.
Well, I was going to say, apparently after Betty killed him, the first thing that she had to say was that she did finally feel at peace. And I guess nowadays might not be the most accurate thing, because apparently I don't know if she feels, like, at peace, or if she feels like she's going crazy because she killed him and she's kind of like, he's gone, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, she was so in love with him, so obsessed with him, and then... Like, I'm not saying it was anybody's fault, but in a way, it was Dan's fault. It was Linda's fault. It was both of their faults.
Yeah, like,
God.
Like, I feel like they drove her. Like, I don't think she was, like, born killer or anything. Like, I feel like that, like, if she wouldn't have met Dan, and if the situation wouldn't have happened, if Dan didn't meet Linda, she probably wouldn't have killed anybody. So, like, there's that.
And I mean, who really knows their actual story? Unless it's you were, like, right there along with them. But again, unless you're actually them, you have no idea. And now we only have Betty. It's not like we have Dan to be like, this is what actually happened. But let's face it, will we even believe Dan to this day? You know what I
Yeah, who
mean?
knows? Like,
Like,
I feel like he wasn't a great person, so.
to me, it just seems like it was Dan manipulating Betty, and then Betty finally snapped and was just like, see ya!
Yeah.
So that's just where we're a little like, you tell us how you guys feel on this one, because
We're a little lost.
it's not that I don't feel bad that people died, because obviously I don't think that anybody should have died,
Yeah, of course.
but I can also see why she killed him.
Yeah. Like, it's not justified, but.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's a little justified.
So we're gonna talk about the wines that we tried and let you know what we think. So the wine that I tried today is this Blackstone Merlot. Is it focused?
Yeah.
There it is. And it is, oh, I said it's a Merlot. It's from California. It is more on the bold side, which I get. It's not very light at all. It's pretty heavy on the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
It's more smooth than tannic, I guess. And then it's more dry than sweet, and there is no sweetness to this, really. And it's more soft than acidic. And it has taste notes of blackberry, plum, black cherry, vanilla, oak, chocolate, and it pairs well with beef, lamb, and veal. So, yeah, I mean, I like it.
I didn't like it. I already tried it earlier.
It's like a little too bold.
Yeah, I don't know. When we were trying
It's good, but
I just didn't like it.
nothing I'm gonna complain about. I actually liked hers better, which was the Cabernet. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, she took it from me. So I bit the bullet and I took the Merlot.
Hey, at least I didn't have to. So the one that I drank is 14 Hands, and like she said, it's a Cabernet. Now this one, it does say that it's more on the bolder side than the lighter side, which I can see because I don't know. It definitely had like a cab taste right away, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like, I don't know. It says it's tannic more than smooth, but I would say it's definitely smooth.
Mm-hmm.
It says that it's drier versus than sweet,
Which I don't get. I feel
I
like
was
it's
gonna
a pretty
say,
sweet wine.
yeah.
Especially for a cab.
Yeah. Honestly, I was like, I thought it was super sweet because even drinking it now, I'm like, this thing is so sweet. I love it. Like, it's going down nice. Love it. And it says it's more acidic than soft, which, again, I don't agree with. I feel like it'd be on the softer and sweeter side, but apparently it's not.
Apparently she's wrong.
Who knows? Now, it does say that it has some notes of oak, vanilla, and chocolate, along with blackberry, plum, not plum, plum, and I think black cherry. And of course, like every other red wine, this goes perfectly with your beef, lamb, game, and chicken.
Did you like it?
I loved it. It was super sweet.
Yeah, I was confused because it's a Cabernet and it's sweet, but I liked that one
I was
because
gonna
it
say,
wasn't too.
I feel like if we had switched, I would have thought that this would have been more cab and this more.
Yeah, like if you put these two glasses in front of me, if you would have put these two glasses in front of me, blindfolded, and you told me to taste them and to choose the cab, I would have chose the Merlot, which is funny because like.
I don't know, this one was really sweet. I liked it. Thank you everybody for watching, and we can't wait to see you next Wednesday. Bye!